sure that I'm live. Thank you for your patience. I had a family moment. Always seems to happen like 7 minutes before the show when everyone needs me at the same time. Live. Okay, I'm sure that I'm live. Thank you for your patience. I had a family moment. Always seems to happen like 7 minutes before the show when, just in case you didn't get that part. Okay, let me see. Where am I? Here I am. Hi guys. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Another Monday. Isn't it just like, before I know it, it's another week. It's like another week has gone by. It's just incredible. So I'm really happy to be here with you guys today. I've had a very inspiring week and a very enlightening weekend. And I'm just super excited to be in the space with you. So I'd like to get us all grounded together energetically with just a little mini meditation. If you would be so kind as to join me, and wherever you are, just take a moment seated. Go ahead and close your eyes and just take a big exhale through your mouth. Just a big exhale through your mouth. And just noticing any activity in between your ears. And see if you can kind of back out of that activity. Allowing your breathing to become fluid. Just bringing your awareness to the sound of your breath. Just watching yourself from far, far away, sitting wherever you are, observing your physical body, seated quietly. And from this bird's eye view, from way up above, see if you can align your physical body to that energy of you, part of you that knows everything and is everything. And allow this pristine energy from up above to travel down through a silver cord to you in this present moment, in this physical body. The most perfect blend of cosmic energy, soothing any excess mind stuff, clearing any old programs that you're ready to release now. Softening any frayed energy fields, any fractures, just allowing this cosmic energy to purify, clear, and ignite any dark places. Becoming more and more of who we are. Every time we sit and we receive the truth, the acceptance, the teaching, the love. And taking 3 conscious breaths together, You'll breathe in for 4, hold your breath for 4, and then exhale through your mouth to the count of 8. As you're ready, breathe in for 4, let your belly get big. Hold it. And then open your mouth, exhaling with a sound. 2 more, breathing in. Hold. Exhaling. 1 more. As you're ready, bring your hands together in front of your heart center. And with gratitude and with love, namaste. Namaste. Wow. All right. So here we are. Wanted to talk with you guys a little bit about, the things we talk about, ego, ego and self. And I was reminded of this incredible teaching that I really love from A Course in Miracles. And it says that you can be hostage to the ego, or you can be host to God. And those are the choices that we have. There's 2 choices. One will bring us suffering, discomfort, self-ridicule, judgment, all the things that we tend to not like, the vibrations that really, especially now as we're ascending so quickly and feeling the vibrations of love, when we find ourselves in those moments of suffering, it can be really disturbing because we're so much more aware now of the difference of energies, of when I'm feeling like I'm a host to God, how amazing that feels to be that aligned, right? And how disturbing it is to feel like yuck. And really, it comes down to doing the work in those moments. In those moments that I'm feeling the suffering, do I have the strength to choose to stop that program? Do I have the power? The answer is yes, you have the power. Yes, you have the strength. The question really comes down to, do you have the willingness to do so? Because we tend to be kind of attached to these programs. They're deep. And the deeper I go on this journey, the more I embrace this work, and the more I look at my life's journey thus far, I'm learning about where some of these programs kind of got solidified in my field. Programs of not being good enough, of being rejected or unloved. You know what I'm talking about? We've all got these programs. It's a part of living in the matrix. And the choice that we have is, when they come up, can I change it? I got the power. Like, you got the power, but sometimes I find myself still wanting to go in there, and I can get myself stuck in these little nooks and crannies in my experience. And it's been so amazing to have this kind of community experience. And even though there's just a few of us here and there's a lot of us online, I can feel that it's really essential that I get this right. I can feel that, whereas before I might have had some leeway. I might have had some space to kind of linger longer in the curiosity of, how much more suffering can I take? Right, Shelley? How much more do I want to dance over here in the insanity? How many more people do I want to pull into my drama? How many more people, as my beautiful friend Kira, who I'm going to pass the mic to in a second, she's so brilliant, says to me, it's like you're holding people hostage when you bring them into your drama. I was like, wow, mind blown. Thank you so much for reminding me of how much more I can do. and how much more I can love myself through those moments when I really am struggling. And I'm not saying that the struggle isn't real, because it is. When you're in it, it's like fear is an illusion, right? That's not real. It's not sustainable in the face of love. But when you're in it, it certainly feels real, doesn't it? It's like, and it like holds you down. It feels like you're anchored in your ankles, right? We love that teaching, where I'm in my lower 3 chakras and I'm all in survival. And how am I going to get up back into the love is about, can I change my mind? Can I change my mind right now? Can I stop this loop? Can I stop this samsara? Can I get on the train of moksha and just get off, so that I can look at it spinning and spinning and spinning and learn and go, oh, okay, I see where that came from. And instead of judging it and being upset about it, it's loving it. That's the only way to get rid of it, is to love those aspects of self that tend to find themselves back in those loops. Love has the power to do that. The divine, the spaciousness of getting out of it has the power to do that. And I've had lots of experiences in these last few weeks and my whole life, as all of us have, to really course correct. Where am I being hostage to the ego and what it says about me, and then manifests in my reality? Because I'm that powerful. So I'm actually creating this situation and saying I'm not. We got to love that part of ourselves too. I'm like, oh, I'm a victim here. I don't know why this is happening. I've tried to do it all. It's like, oh, well, you know what? It takes 2 to tango, right? You were there. I was there. And am I willing to own my part in that without judging myself? Because this is not a performance. How we parent, how we partner, how we ascend, how we do all of these things it's not a performance here. It's a real, honest to God journey from fear to love. And every single one of us has this opportunity right now, in this now moment, to be walking this path. And it's really beautiful. And it's super potent. And it's incredibly transformational. The moments that I've had with Kira in the last week, where she's been holding this incredible space for me through some, some deep stuff. And I want to do that for her, and I want to do that for you. And we're going to get to all of those things too. But this incredible space is like, oh, I just need to leave this hostage room. I just need to, it's open. I just need to be the one to walk out, because I keep waiting for someone else to open the door or something from the outside to change. And I'm realizing that it's me that has the power. When I am like, no, this is not true about me. I am innocent. I have love and positive intentions, and anything that's not of the highest vibration that is in suffering is part of the illusion. It's all a part of the illusion. So if I can, sometimes with the help of a mighty friend, or with Ho'oponopono, which I'm going to give to Kira to talk about, or just sitting in a meditation, it's walking out of that room of hostage, and then I'm back in the hostess of this incredible vibration of love. And then I'm reminded, wow, that was there all the time. I'm the one who left. I'm the one who gets to say, I'm still over here. I can't do it. He said this, she said this, that happened when I was 10. I can't go. Don't you remember all this? And Spirit's going, I don't see any of that. All of that is false evidence appearing real. It's a part of your assignment. God loves you so much that it's like this incredible holographic experience where you get to see all of the places where you haven't been your divine self. What a gift. What a gift. Our opportunity is to not identify as that. When we make a mistake, can we just course correct? Or do we have to give it along with, a huge dose of guilt and blame and extra psychoanalyst and this? Just let it all, like all of it, false evidence appearing real. I'm here now in this moment. All of this is happening for my learning. It's a blessing, often in disguise. But the yogis call it the tapas, the fiery cleansing, this purification process where we're burning away and shedding our layers upon layers upon layers, eons of insanity that we're correcting now. Wow. Go us. And what happens when you shift? Everything else does too. And it's interesting because it's like I'm observing it. I'm going, oh, well, wow. Look at that course correct itself. Whereas when I'm hostage to the ego, I'm manipulating and I'm trying to create the outcome that I think that I want. But there's definitely something higher that can transpire if I step out of manipulating the situation and I allow the cards to fall and I trust my innocence and my divinity because that's real. We cannot change ourselves. We were created as mankind. We were created as these incredible beings of light. We're miracles walking around in skin suits, learning how to take care of them, learning how to clean them on all levels. And this is like, oh, wow, how fun. I didn't learn this in, kindergarten, but I'm learning it now. And what a gift that is for all of us to look at our entire life and just go, thank you. Because if I'm willing, before I pass it to Kira, if I'm willing to look at the resentment, whatever it is, I resent this, I judge this, I'm angry about this, and you feel justified about it because you're probably right. You're probably right too. But still, that energy is causing you harm. It's disrupting that alignment because you're holding on to a density that's not yours. But if you take it and you look at it and you say, absolutely, angels, spirits, all that is, I am willing to see this differently. You will. You absolutely 100 and a bazillion % will see it differently. And when you see it differently, whoa, what happens? Well, your soul is like, woohoo! You learn the lesson. Oh, wow. Trust myself is what I'm learning. Trust my intuition. Trust my guidance. Not let anything on the external influence that. All of us are feeling that, right? All of us have been ridiculed in some way, shape, or another our entire lives. No one's exempt from this. Some of us have tough skin. Some of us are okay walking around with shields on. And some of us don't want to walk around with that density anymore. It's just too much. We literally energetically can't keep it. It doesn't fit into this new reality that we're stepping into. So we learn these soul lessons of trusting myself, right? Respecting myself. If someone's disrespecting you, that's a great opportunity. Well, how did I manifest that situation? Thank you. Because once you download your soul lesson, you get to gratitude. And the spirit of gratitude, the energy of gratitude is the highest one we can tap right now. Thank you. Thank you for the sun. Thank you for the watermelons. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for this friendship. Thank you for this hardship because it showed me A, B, and C. Thank you. God bless you. Namaste. I love you so much. I want what's in the highest for you, for me, for all of us. That's the only thing I want. I don't want any more suffering for any of us, which means I have to stop suffering. Right? Well, no, I'm just doing this for you. No, it doesn't work like that. It's not how this thing was set up. Each one of us is equally responsible. Each one of us has to do our own work in this game. And we do, we tend to hold each other hostage in many ways because it's hard sometimes, because it's heavy and that stuff is in there. It's in there. It's in there. But cause and effect is a beautiful thing, friends. If I can look at the cause, why am I in this situation? Why am I in this moment? Why am I in this resentment? What caused this? What is that thought form that has found a home in my heavenly and beautiful mind? What is it? Go there. Don't put a Band-Aid over it. That's the old us. I'm just going to cover this one up and just pretend it's all good. No, it used to work, didn't it? A little bit. You kind of get by. I don't know what happened in the stars and then all this. It just doesn't work anymore. It's deeper. And it's delicious in that way of going, oh, there it is. I see you. Dear God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've been treasuring that program instead of the truth of who you said I was. I'm sorry about that. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Thank you. Thanks for that one. Thanks for that one. And I love you. When Kira taught me that Ho'oponopono prayer, it literally changed my life. And all of you know, I've been going through some deep stuff. I mean, it literally is saving my life. It's changing everything because it's going to the cause of the false program and my identification with the false program as me, which it's not, and it's course correcting it, which by default erases the effect, which means people show up differently. And you go, wow, I did not expect that to happen. Thank you. Miracles occur naturally because why? Because you showed love to your program and you apologized for it. You took responsibility for it. You didn't say it was because of somebody else. You didn't play the victim card. That's the old us. You said, no, I got this. I'm a big girl. I got this one. I'm going to course correct right now. I'm going to go to the cause. Why do I feel this way? It's miraculous. It's a miraculous, miraculous journey. And it's so instantaneous. Whereas, you know, I've spoken to you guys and we all have people in their life that are resentful about things that happened 20 years ago. And, you know, we all got these cats still kind of lingering that model for us what not to be. They're great teachers for us. Like, I don't want to be like that. Bitter, resentful. God, could you? It's just so dense. No, thank you. No, thank you. What do you got to do? Change your mind. That's a miracle. That's all a miracle is a shift in perception. I'm just going to change my mind about this. I'm going to clear out this beautiful mind. I'm not going to treasure any more of these insane thoughts. Any of them. Even if I believe that they're correct. It's still an identification with the egoic self. And I only want to be who I was designed to be. And I think that that's true for all of us on some level. So that's where I wanted to start from. Kira, I don't know if you want to hop in there. No?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Okay, great. Hello, beautiful people. Hello, my friends, my family. It is truly an honor to be with all of you. And not just in this now moment, which is, of course, eternal, but just in this journey of raising our frequency from hell into heaven and creating the Garden of Eden with each other, which is an energetic realm to dwell within. And so, yes, heaven and hell coexist. It's all a frequency journey that we calibrate ourselves into. And I want to acknowledge all the beauty that you just shared, Marie. And I also want to say that the beautiful teaching that our beloved Charlie Freet gives us is the simple mantra that kind of pulls the plug on the suffering of being in the matrix mind and all the generational curses of limitation thinking that makes us feel shitty about ourselves and makes us loop in dramas and makes us feel like we have chronic problems that we can't move through. All of that. It's like, have you seen those rooms, like maybe at a circus or something, that's just a little room kept up with air fans. And when Charlie says, take no thought, it's like you pull the plug on the air fan that's suspending that little room, and you no longer live there, no longer go in there, which is the room of thinking of your thoughts of yourself. Because that's where we suffer, is when we think about ourselves, of what someone thinks of us, of self-judgment, of what's going to happen and how we messed it up and our past history. All of that is torture. And it has nothing to do with being empowered in the now moment to be in receptivity to the mind of our higher nature that wants to flow through us. It's like that's the blockage. And so the beautiful thing that we have with each other, beloved family, is that we get to, with each other, strip off the layers of the shadow with love and kindness to each other and no judgment, so that we reveal the crystalline nature that's always been there within us. We're just decoding and realigning with our true nature. And in doing this together with loving kindness and no judgment, and giving each other the space to do it, but also using the idea that at any moment we can free ourselves. We don't have to loop and work it all out. And that's the beauty of this instantaneous alignment with Ho'oponopono, that if you say, I'm tired of looping in this program of limitation about money or whatever it is, and you identify these programs as they come bubbling up in each now moment, and when you say, I'm done with it, and you go to source, and you truly, with all of your being, choose to write the code differently, no longer run that program. It's like you're sovereign. You're not stuck in that programmatic loop. Then when you truly go with all of your heart and say, I'm casting my net to the right, I'm allowing God now to be the replacement factor in 0 point, and write something beautiful that replaces that, we can have that instantaneously. And that's the co-creation of the Garden of Eden with each other, that we write programs where we're creating beauty all the time in all of our work, in our finances, in our interactions with each other, in our commerce, in what we design and what we are giving to the world. It's all at a higher vibration beyond struggle. And that's something that we are co-creating with each other as we keep reminding each other to shed the layers that obscure the beauty within that we all naturally have.
Just beautiful. Right?
Yeah, I'm looking at a note that I wrote during your talk to see what I wanted to say. And you know, what happens when we use Ho'oponopono with a friend is they can be telling us a story, something that happened. And because you feel the energy shift from the pure stream of the sparkly energy of now, and all of a sudden energy shifted, it took a left turn, and it starts to loop down into this feeling of suck. At that moment, you can say to your beloved partner, oh, beloved, let's clean that, and say, I'm sorry I'm running this program that makes me want to tell you all about my shitty day, to vent, because I want to offload my shittiness of my feeling in my auric body onto you, my family. So I've got into this habit of coming home and dumping on my spouse, my partner, my mother, whatever. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to pull the plug on that. I'm sorry. And then you truly decide you won't do that, for example, please forgive me, is the acceptance like you're standing under a violet flame waterfall, and you just, that whole program, all that code, generations of your ancestors that did that, and you saw the residue of it in your family, and you modeled it, and then it grew, and you acted it out with people, and now it's deeply rooted in your consciousness. In a moment, you can let it all go. You can return that energy and that pattern to 0 point. Now, if it's something deep down, you may have to do it every day for a couple of weeks, but it will keep lessening and keep lessening until there's a point where you pop through and you go, wow, that program's gone. I'm sovereign in that area. I no longer need to act that out. And that's when I feel that energy wash through me, that's when I say, thank you, because I'm receiving it with a willingness that I'm not going to try to initiate it and start that baby up again. That I'm saying, no, I'm on board, I'm all in. And then you say, I love you, which means I'm back. I'm back with, my wisdom. I'm back in my right mind instead of in my insanity of running programs that make loosh, instead of turning and casting my net to the right and co-create with spirit, with the father, mother, child reunion that Charlie teaches us, which is what we all came here to do. And what, as mighty companions with each other, we can gently remind each other when we hear each other run programs, ask, do you want to clean that? And I am a Ho'oponopono coach and can help others if they need that. And so let me know if there's anyone that would love help with that. But we're really here to do it with ourselves and each other. And the problem is that we go on autopilot and we run programs and we don't know that we're running them. We don't mean to be parasitical to the other people when we're running these programs. We don't mean to be locked in the matrix program, but we're so blindsided with our own issues. And that's why with loving compassion, when we can remind each other, because we see it, because we feel the energy shift, we can be doing each other such a loving service. It's just, we have to see with the eyes of God and not react. Be so loving to each other, be so kind, be so patient. And if the energies are heavy, excuse ourselves and say, I'm going to meditate on this and I'll get back to you. And raise the energy in prayer and anything else you can if you can't, do it directly. But, we're all ascending together. This is a community thing that we're creating. And it's beautiful. We couldn't do it without each other. I felt like I was just spinning my wheels until I got connected with Charlie Freak and the Freak family, that I knew a lot of things, but I wasn't able to activate them deeply within myself. And because of all of you and all that you all teach me every day, I feel I keep getting activated more and more. And I just want to give my love and gratitude to every single one of you. I love all of you so much.
Wow. I love you so much, Kira. Such a beautiful, beautiful energy you share with all of us, and just echoing everything, that this is a community experiment and it's an experience that we're having together, whether we're together or online. Energetically, we're in this thing, and I'm learning so much, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for this level, because it really does. Someone recently said to me, I don't know what your expectations are. Like, if I come there, how, I know you guys set the bar really high. And I love that. That's what she said. And I went, yeah, I guess we do. I didn't see it from that place, but we do. We are accelerating. We want it all. We want that full alignment. And in order to do that, that's the eye of the needle. That's the straight and narrow path. That's what we're doing. And that's like a squeezing out process. It's like it's like, wow, I'm pushing these waves away. I'm swimming through this water. And it's an incredible experience to know that, even though it sometimes feels like we're alone on this, that we're all doing this in varying places in space and time. And that gives me a lot of confidence to keep going, and to trust this process, like really to trust it, to trust that God is good, to trust that the highest is what the divine wants for us. Like, that's, none of this was meant to be, all of the suffering and all of it. It had to get so far out of bounds for us to realize and to wake up. Wow, we were so asleep, every single one of us. And now we're like, oh, okay, I see. And when we heal our part of it, we heal the whole. And we might not see that straight away, and we can't know how it's all happening. But again, when we heal, we're not healed alone. And that's what's so beautiful about this too, is that this work we do for ourselves is of service to everybody. Does that resonate?
Marie, I'd like to talk about how I learned about how shifting my energy would shift my whole experience.
Go for it.
And that was, I had an archetype of a mother that was very dark. She played a really dark archetypal role to me, and really impacted my psyche. But when you think of the way that everything can be, every kick can be a boost, it shifted me into a higher frequency because I had to go there to get out of that hell. And so as an adult, I pretty much stayed clear of her. But when she got to be very elderly, she got very sick and with cancer. And she needed to come and spend time with me at my house. And I got a 2-month warning. And I knew that if she came and stayed with me in my present state of mind of still holding on to the old beliefs and ideas about her, that it would be hell. I would literally be in hell. And so I pleaded and I petitioned God. I said, God, you've got to raise me into my Christ mind. I've got 2 months. I got to get there right now. If I don't get to this level of divine consciousness, I'm going to be in hell. And I don't want to be there. And so I did everything I could, every spiritual tool in my tool belt, I pulled it out because I knew that I needed to do this. I knew there was no avoiding it. And I knew it was a choice. And when I did finally interact with my mother, it was so incredibly different. It was pleasant and enjoyable. And we became friends. And I know that what happened was that I raised myself out of a little template of a negative programming of persecution and suffering, and that her immortal self, her infinite self, played that role that I called in. And if I could change the slide in my slide projector and change the template into one of clarity and purity and love, and let God come in and shift things up and decode the old stuff and clean it up with Ho'oponopono, then I would have a completely different experience. And if there was anything more traumatic than my mom going from raging, psycho bitch, narcissistic, sociopathic person I hated my whole life to a sweet, angelic being, then there couldn't possibly have been any more dramatic of a demonstration that, like Marie started the show, you got the power. We have the power to change all of our experience by cleaning up our program and making our mind the diamond shining mind of God. Then we have nothing to bitch and moan about. So guess what we've been addicted to? Complaining, bitching, and moaning. And the older you get, the more you want to do it because you think you've got more stuff to bitch and moan and complain about. So our first thing is to decide that we're done. And we have to give up bitching and moaning, complaining, and talking story about all the shitty things that are still happening, and poor me. So if we're willing to do that, we can have a really fabulous life. But that's the price of admission. So yeah, I hope that inspires people that if they have someone really horrible that's playing the role of the major dark archetype in your life, that you can go within and clean that up and see who comes out on the other side. I mean, it's got to be a huge upgrade. And you can do that with every aspect of your life. And this is the exploration of our infinite multidimensional self. And this is what I explore with people. And this is what I'm putting together a little video series about exploring. And so to me, it's like the most exciting thing that can possibly be is that we're learning what is the upgrade on the other side of this, bank that we've been stuck on in the matrix. What's the upgrade over there?
Right. 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 And enjoying the upgrades as they come, because they do. There's so many moments that I've experienced, like, wow, I couldn't have had this moment if I didn't, let go of A, B, and C. I couldn't have had, the moment in the creek with the daughter, and, the sweet exchange with the husband, or all of the amazing moments that are happening if I was still in those old not good enough, unlovable, blah, blah, blahs. And the upgrades are gifts. Those are the miracles that like want to come through for us. That's what I feel. I feel like I just want to be on the other side of that. It's just, and the more I want that, the more spirit wants that. And so it's magnetic. It's like, oh, I'm going that way. And we're just at the beginning. I mean, the magnificence that's going to come, the more magnetic we become, right? And we let go of what doesn't work and we move towards what does. I mean, it's unlimited. I just, the excitement that I feel in my physical and the lightness that I feel around all that can happen is what's kind of keeping me encouraged to keep doing the work too, and not get stuck like, oh, well, this is good enough. A lot of people get stuck in, well, it's not that bad. I mean, I got, it's okay. This relationship's okay. I mean, we don't fight, it's fine, but it's not like, woo, you know? And don't we all like deserve a little bit more of like wowza and excellence, like a level of excellence. And that's a reclaim, I think. I mean, I don't know what you think about that, Kira, but I feel like this experience is about reclaiming what's natural for us, like what we were designed to experience in the Garden of Eden, which is full, nakedness. There was no hiding because there was nothing to hide. Right?
It was all beauty.
Yeah.
And when we see with the eyes of God, with the lens of God, through casting our net to the right, cleaning our mind, all we see is beauty when we look at each other, at our fellow brothers and sisters. All we see is beauty, even on our families, even if they're COVIDiots wearing masks and getting jabs, we can still see, and they're Democrats. We can still see their beauty because they're playing a role in this universal drama. And we can still, we don't have to go down into polarization against them. We can see everyone with love, all of our brothers and sisters, because, we were talking about the DNA strand, about how the two sides, they go apart, they come together, they go apart, they come together. And so even if we see polarization in our world, it's all coming together. It's all part of a divine plan. And our job, I think, as being in this freakville community and freaksters that have seen so much revealed to us by Charlie and Justin and Marie and all the shows they've done, our job is to stay, paddling at the same rate, or I should say, allowing ourselves to flow at the same rate by doing the work together and cleaning our minds so that we're all in this place and no one's locked into old drama patterns. I mean, yeah, they're going to come up like little burps and hiccups and stuff. But, the ideal is that we see the potentiality of what we can do that hasn't come forth yet, especially with finance and abundance. I mean, that is this untapped thing that we as creators haven't, it's like the heaviest program because it's part of the breaking out of the slavery of the matrix.
Yeah.
So I can hardly wait to see what new paradigms of abundance are coming into manifestation through all of us, not just some, but all of us.
Yeah.
So yeah, all the words, redemption, reclaiming everything. You're absolutely right, Marie. I would like to give time and space to all the other people that are here, to speak. And so I would like to, unless you have anything else to ask me, to just go offline and listen to all the rest of you and give my time to those that are wanting to share.
It was beautiful, Kira. Thank you so much for being here. We love you. And I just love you so much. And that's one of my greatest blessings has been, all of the relationships that I thought I was losing. They were such incredible teachers for me. But anytime that happened, someone else showed up that really held like some much more serious love for me. And Kira, you are definitely I just love you so much. I love everybody so much, but I'm super grateful for that, Kira. And yeah, does anyone want to ask her a question before we give her kisses, send her off on her day. Anybody have a question for Kira? No? Not for now. I think you blew us all just away. And it's that vibration. Do you feel it? It's just, this is what we want to do all the time. Just hang out with each other, be in the state of love, see the light in each other, be without judgment. Gosh, it's so toxic, that stuff, right? Yucky. It's so much more fun on the other side. All right, Kira, we love you. We're in touch, honey.
All right. Goodbye, my friends. I love you all so much. I'll be listening on the YouTube.
Okay, honey.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now. Bye. Bye. So many people in the chat loving on you, Kira, too. Just looking. So yeah, right? Good topic for today. I really felt like wanted to just remind ourselves that, how important this was and how essential each one of our parts is to this puzzle. No one's more important than anybody else here. We're all in this thing together, and we're empowering each other just by our intention for the highest outcome for all of us. Yeah. Anybody else want to share right now? Joel, go for it.
Yeah, thank you. Good to connect with all of you again. Really appreciate you doing this, Marie. Kira, you really speak in my language around, how we forge new neural pathways and become liberated from what was. And Toltecs take it really, as you know, Kira, I think they take it much further, and they recapitulate every single memory of their life. And then they recapitulate every dream that they've ever had. And as difficult as that sounds, or as impossible as it sounds, when you start honing dreaming attention, it becomes the only thing to do. Yes. So you become so focused and so silent that you're no longer distracted by anything, and nothing brings you comfort. And so you're forced to go inward. You're forced to discover what is available and what we actually are. And on the other side of that is a very real and active layer in which you can start to interact with the other layers of the onion. You start to perceive things in a non-linear way. And then you're no longer, bound to time. And you can extend your day to be very long, or it can be very short, or depending on how you interact with your relationship with intensity. So intensity is where you learn, the capacity to truly focus. So meditation isn't exactly letting go. It's more of a focus. It's actually like unbending intent, where you enter into that which is yet to be discovered within your being. And so God is just going to give you so much support in that, because that's what we're here to do, is to create something new, to become creators, to meet the Creator, so that we can be a student of that, so that we can be in the presence of such intelligence that we are so moved and so touched that our emotions are, pushed through us. That's the liberation, right? It's the courageousness to truly be emptied, to truly be scoured clean, to be purified in every way. And so the more purification work you do, the more purification work you will discover. It doesn't end. So I'm just so honored that you guys are doing such powerful and beautiful, intentional work, that you're falling in love with yourselves and all that is around you. Kira, your words are really touching, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Beautiful. Wow, Joel, thank you. I'm so glad that you're reminding us that it never ends, because I think that that's something that a lot of people in the spiritual path can get stuck in. We're like, well, I already fixed this. I already did that. I already attended to that. And that's what I feel we now need to get excited about. We now need to be like, okay, like you said, there's nothing else to do. What else is time for? What else is this experience for? It's not for running around like crazy people and, trying to, do all the things and consume it. It really is about, how can I stay so present in this moment, so that every thought, every dream, wow, how beautiful, that we're just clearing and clearing and clearing, so that we become that empty vessel. Just such a clear vehicle for the divine to work through us. In that aspect, then we're co-creating. And so if we're co-creating with God, we will not create anything that's not beautiful. It would be impossible to do so. we will only create the most beautiful, most highest vibration of everything. Our environments will be beautiful. Our bodies will be beautiful. Our inners will be beautiful. Our families will be beautiful. Our friendships, our meals, everything will turn into what it was designed to be in the garden. And that's a lot of what we're talking about in this experience of recreating the Garden of Eden. This project is about practicing that, and that's like, wow, it's different if it was, I always say this to some of my friends that are here, we're a family of 4. I have a 10-year marriage. I have 2 children, so it's not like it's just me on my own. So there's a lot of interactions that are happening. Anyone that's in a family dynamic right now gets this in a big way. And so it requires us to stay really deeply present to what's real, because there's so much interference. It's happening all day long. And I'm just really grateful that you guys are setting this bar so high for all of us. That's what I'm loving about being in this community online and in person, is like, let's set the bar up super, super high. The nuance that we need to be really, really careful with is, when are we judging? If that person isn't meeting that standard, when are we judging that person or judging ourselves for not being there yet? And there's where that compassion, that heavenly compassion, needs to be, because God isn't judging. God isn't like mad about things. God is allowing us to get there. Yes, we want to accelerate the process, but I think that we can often get lost again in that spiritual teaching of like, well, it's just not, I know where it wants to be. And do we have the patience for that? Do we call it in yoga, like, do you have the mula bandha? Like, can you lift your navel back up and in? Can you stand in the fire? Can you wait this thing out and trust, right? That it's happening, that you are the chosen one. I am the chosen. We are the chosen ones. Why? Because we chose to do it. We raised our, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'd be happy to. What did I sign up for? Uh-oh. It's all good though. It's super fun. And look at all you guys. So fun, so friendly, and such bright faces to be with. Thank you, Joel, for that. I love Toltec wisdom. I'd love to dive deeper into that with you as well. I just am an amateur, but just that 4 agreements. I remember when I read that book and was speaking, I think it was my aunt or something who gave it to me. And, all of those programs, those, the matriarchal programs, and I got all sorts of funky ones and manifested in a density that most of you know about. But anyway, she gave me, and I was like, don't take anything personally.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you sure? Because my whole experience up to that point was taking everything personally, like everything. I still do that. And that's just me being, fully transparent. I still take things personally when they're not mine to take personally. They're not mine. They're not mine. They're there for me to be like, well, who am I? Am I who you think I am? Can I allow someone to think ill of me and not, and know that that's not, that I don't have to feel that? Right, Shelley? Yikes. This is the work. It's that love of self. It was my niece's birthday yesterday. She's 14, and we just had the sweetest conversation, and her mom came on. I just love these guys so much. And I know that we're so different right now. Like, our lives are so different. They're the exact opposite right now. And I love them so much. And that's what Kira was saying. Like, we don't need to judge. We don't need to be at war with people that aren't in alignment right now. We can still love them through it. But I said to her, just keep loving yourself, sweetheart. And her mom got a tear. And I was like, I know, is that too cheesy? Sorry. I don't mean to be cheesy, but she's like, no, it's perfect. How else do we tell a 14-year-old girl? Love yourself, treasure yourself, treasure your relationship to the divine, connect now. There's no better time than in the moment, right? So it really is beautiful, but it's a lot about self-love, isn't it? It's a lot about knowing thyself, if not everything. Isn't that everything? Knowing who you are?
Yeah. Well, and self-importance is really the most critical aspect it's our major handicap, is that we're so focused on self. And so to truly love the self would be to to love that which is outside of you until you're no longer focused on the self. So you flood your ears and your eyes and your nose with so much beauty, so many beautiful smells, so many beautiful sights and sounds that you cannot possibly maintain your thoughts. And how you learn to do that is through sheer willpower. Because we came here and we were forced as children to force our will into this matrix-like way of being. We would have not have survived very well had we not made that adjustment. So we're dealing with, from willpower to willpower. We had to will ourselves into being sane within this toxic realm so we wouldn't get taken out. And now we have to will ourselves carefully back into the realm in which we no longer serve the self and we're not self-important. And that's the liberation. It's simple, but it's terrifying in the process, because you start to disassemble away from that which really upholds your reality. You disassemble your relationship with what makes you who you are, and you start to break that down, and you take that social mask off your face. Your shields come down. You no longer are protected by your thoughts, and you're sensitive, and you become a barometer for everything. And so you go through a very delicate stage, and it's very difficult. But when you're eventually able to truly spend, you have developed the will to perceive outside of yourself, then you'll start to realize the miracle of perception. And you'll start to see the magical, more mystical aspects of what is available within the layers. And then you start to be able to perceive that things are not so hard. And you're able to perceive the soft side of the energy body, which teaches you about astral travel. And then you're no longer basing your reality on the fact that you are stuck in the same place as everyone else. Of course, yes, you do go through stages where you go through judgment, and you start to wonder and question and perceive those things. But when you see energy directly, you see a being as a luminous light, and they're no longer this person that's doing something and pointing at you. You're just seeing the energy, and they're throwing energy at you, or they're loving you. You're just perceiving it. And it's such a miracle of perception that you couldn't possibly be at odds with this being that's teaching you so much, because they're the one that's giving you that opportunity. So Toltecs actually seek out very difficult situations with people on purpose in order to tame and come to terms with what holes in their consciousness exist, so that when they do go out into travel into the astral layers, they've already dealt with those unconscious aspects, and they don't get sort of, the shock of their life. And so this whole place is a training ground. Everything, every moment, every day is an opportunity to prepare for our vehicle to travel. We really are vehicles. And the movements that I do and teach are the movements that prepare your vehicle. And it prepares it so that you know what it needs, so that you don't ever go back into autopilot. You're constantly maintaining your own vessel so that nothing comes in, no old patterns, no old neural pathways that hijack what you've discovered about your capacity to drive that thing yourself, or really to let spirit guide it. So sorry about the rant. Thank you.
Don't be sorry about the rant, ever. We all are soaking that up. We must all have some Toltec past lives and stuff like that, because that all really, really hit home in a powerful way. And I appreciate that you acknowledge that it can be quite difficult, because I think that sometimes we get frustrated with the difficult aspects of this journey, and we just want it to be easy peasy all the time. And at least I do. I mean, I don't like to have difficult moments or conversations, but I do realize that I must be seeking them out to find the holes in my own psyche, so that I can heal. And so from that perspective, to hold it from that space, then I can be grateful. And like we started the show with too, that energy of gratitude is really healing. It's really healing for me to be like, wow, thank you for this situation. Thank you for this opportunity to learn more and to hold more space, and to see how I can identify with the truth of who I am, rather than, what you're saying is in terms of the autopilot or all of the programs, or however we frame the matrix. We're kind of out looking in at it going, yikes, but there are still threads of us that are plugged in, that we're pulling out. We're unplugging. And that's something, because you've got to have courage. You got to trust. You got to know that you're going to be held by a higher reality. That's the loss I think that a lot of people are dealing with right now. Like, well, if I let go of this, which isn't so bad, what will it be? And thinking, well, I'm just going to be all perfect. No, there's still work on the other side of that. Like, yes, you're going to ascend, but it's not like all bliss yet. We have layers of this. We've descended 7 layers down. We've got 7 layers back up to go. So, we might as well get that now so that we're not so surprised when it gets funky again. And when it does get funky, celebrate that too, because that's a part of this. Yeah. Beautiful. Wow, I love you guys. What a great conversation we're having. Who wants to pop in? Huh? Sarah, you and I had a great conversation. Do you want to share a little bit? You're a powerhouse. You know what we're talking about. I know all of you do. Jump in here, sweetie.
Right? Can you hear me? Okay, great. I just listening to Joe speak, I just want to reflect that he speaks a different language, which is a delight. Like it's like coming in a different window or an angle that feels totally in alignment, but it's just a different angle, and it's just so appreciated. Like I really I was taking notes as he was writing or as he was speaking, and I just really appreciate those words. They do resonate deeply, and I think a lot of spiritual practices do speak about like building virtue, and yeah, definitely acknowledging difficult situations and the intentional seeking out of confronting, or not to be conflictual, but to go to lean into difficult situations. We are taught so much to run away, like it's crazy. I think especially as women, we're taught to run away, avoid conflict. But it's okay to lean in, and I'm going to take that this week as more intentional around leaning in, and not necessarily running after difficult situations, but embracing them with delight. So that's just a reflection that comes.
Thank you. It kind of cut out a little bit, but yeah, Joel, if you wanted to respond. Or
Yeah, please. Yeah, so warriors always have a strategy, right? They don't recklessly go after gaining knowledge unless they're ready and they've done the work, and they're going to show up, and they intend to be very successful. They have no intention of going and getting hurt for no reason and adding more work and more wound, right? So absolutely, Toltecs look for and strategize ways in which they can discover aspects of themselves that they typically wouldn't know about. And so they look for tyrants. They look for people that will challenge them and make them face discomforting situations, but only when they're really ready. So, but when you do have a situation that you feel you've created a monster around, something has gotten really scary, like the mask thing for me became my little monster. There's no fucking way I'm going to put on a satanic fucking garment, for these people. Like I figured out, wow, I have a lot of issue, right? There's still stuff that's not dealt with because I have this attachment to this thing and this projection and all these fears. But when you are ready, and you want to face these people and you talk to them calmly and deal with them soberly, and then you're going to gain so much energy. But if you're going to go there with a confrontation and going to face these monsters, you're going to yell at them and lose all this energy, you're going to come back beat up. And so there's just strategy to all of it. And so if you do have things that are uncomfortable, I recommend feeling them, sitting with them, asking yourself why, working with someone that can work with the shadow and the polarities to help you understand why you're attracted to it. Because when you fear something, it means you're attracted to it. And when you're attracted to something, it means you're attracted to the opposite, because everything is a contradiction. Everything is a contradiction. And so when we discover how powerful the contradictions are, we become liberated in that mystical layer where there is, another opportunity to perceive. So these things literally open doors. When you go and take and face monsters that you thought were scary, and then you realize they weren't scary at all, they were shaken in their boots just like you were. They were just as afraid that you were going to speak your truth. They were just as afraid that you were going to walk into that room without fear and that you would dismantle their power. They're terrified of you, just like you're terrified of them. And then when we stop being afraid of people in general, then we stop being afraid of ourselves, right? So this is all holistic. This work, the shadow work, all of us, we're all one. So we're all just individuated in order to experience something separate so that we can come to terms with the fact that self-importance is a monster that will destroy this infinite multiverse. We have to come to terms with how powerful the ego is and how long it's been in charge and what its intention is for long term. Like, it has all the patience in the world. This is not going to just simply magically disappear. We will be dealing with our unconsciousness for a long time to come, and yet there is no time at all. So thank you for picking up on this energy. It's definitely an older way of survival, and there are new syntaxes pouring in right now. So I'm referencing stuff from the past, but they do play a role in our liberation, and we get to fine tune them and make changes to them. And people that are forging new neural pathways sort of fall into that honor and that role of passing the baton and being involved in really healing things of the past. Even powerful teachings, some of those syntaxes need to be liberated because we're still speaking from a fear-based or projected mindset. Thank you.
So what's so fun about this show too is that, like, I never really know, like, I have a sense of what's going to happen, but I never really know who's going to come and who's going to be guided. And this is, again, one of those miracles where God did the work, and all I really need to do is send out the Zoom link, figure out how to do the YouTube. And everyone knows don't do that really great, but at least I get it done. And I'm super grateful because, it allows us to have these really healing conversations around our journey and what we're experiencing, and to do so in a way that, is affecting many, many, many people. And I get so many messages, guys, from people that are like, wow, this and that. And I sometimes get caught up like on the YouTube numbers, and I wonder why nothing's changed for 3 weeks. And then Charlie says to me, well, they're messing with your YouTube, and you talk about Hitler, and don't worry about it. So I just need to know that, like, even if it's how many people are here right now, there's 9 of us, that the 9 of us in the Zoom room and the 100 or so people that are watching the live are having this experience in this moment of altering. Like, there's an altering happening. There's something shifting. And that really encourages me and really inspires me and really just fills my heart with so much love. So thank you, Joel, for showing up. And yeah, just for this moment that all of us co-create together. This is a community effort. So thank you. Wow. Who else wants to share? Ask a question or posit something?
I just want to say thank you, Joel. You're just kind of the added extension of everything that I've been learning this week. That just kind of brings it all back into perspective. Like, I've just really learned how to sink into my heart instead of staying in my head, which is really hard for me. To show up and be vulnerable like this is just like so overwhelming. And this whole week has been that way. It's been pushing and pushing and pushing me to do this. And as scared shitless as I am, I'm stepping into it. And I appreciate that that's bringing even more clarity to what is happening this week. So thank you. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah. Shelley, you've been such a superstar this week. You really have. And I've been feeling you and a few others that I've spoken to just around really looking at our life and course correcting. We started the conversation like we cannot correct something if we're not aware of it, if we're not willing to take responsibility for it. We can't heal it if we're not looking at it and just be like, well, it'll figure itself out. Like that's how I used to do that all the time. It'll figure itself out. I'm just not gonna, it'll all be good. And now it's like Joel was just saying, like, this is a training ground. I think that's what you said. Like, this is a playground. Like, we're learning how to do these things. So when you show up like this, Shelley, it really inspires me. And to look at the relationships that are heavy and say, I don't want this anymore. Please take this heaviness. I want what I came here for, which was lightness. What is real about me, who I really am, the spirit of self. Like, that's who I want to be. I want to stop identifying with this ego that's running amok, causing so many problems. This guy.
And the relationships have been pushing me to do that, but it's all about me. It's all about me. It's all about what I don't want to face.
Yeah. Yeah. It really gives us like that Godfidence. I've been really into that word. Like Godfidence, the confidence, like to look. You have mighty companions all around you, and a lot of people on this planet right now doing this work, just doing it and looking at the relationships and burning through the hard parts and making difficult decisions. I know, our brother Aaron too is like, we're doing it. Penny, I know you've been through stuff. Like, we're letting people go. We're reuniting. We're doing the work. Yay for us. Vegan raw cookies for everyone. Watermelon slices for everyone. You all passed the test. You all did great. But truly, it's beautiful. Way to go, Shelley. You've got this. You've got mighty friends here and, around. I've been really inspired by the angels too. Like, I've really had some interesting connections recently. I'm like, oh, greetings. Hello. Nice to meet you. Thank you for being here. Right on. Who else? Look at my brothers in the hammocks. You see these guys chilling? Mexicanos now. Learn how to, really chillax. Any of you guys want to share? You just witnessing the love today? I think we're all
I'll share again, or somebody else there. Someone else? Okay. Yeah. So Joe just mentioned about the masks, which was intuitively right on, because I am deeply triggered also. I think we all are, but I have been diving in deeper around that. And I attended a market in a one of the neighboring towns on Saturday. And it was all outdoors by the ocean. There's beautiful breezes. The sun was shining. And as I'm approaching, I'm noticing that everyone's wearing a mask. This is in Nova Scotia. So the vendors, the people shopping, and little children. There's a set of swings in the middle, and the children who are siblings on all the swings all have masks on. And so I did a bit of my shopping, the only person without a mask, and I started feeling really, really sick. And I went and sat at one of the picnic tables and I did sit with it. And wow, like it's just, it was, I did just sit with it and let myself feel it deeply. A lot of it is just disbelief. Like, I don't understand this in fresh air, why this is all happening. But I've also, I guess, been asking myself about just the whole thing about magnetism and resonance and like attachment to even things like an outdoor, like markets. Like, I have this thing, markets are wonderful, and yeah, they're supposed to be wonderful. But anyway, there was a lot of energy of fear there. And I realize now, when I reflect back to my just sitting with it, that I was deeply tuning into people's feel, like people's feelings there. And so it's sickening. So kind of, and I'm thinking of the beauty and the gift that is maybe, not that we have to take on other people's things and struggles, but just to feel into it. And I'm going to reflect on this business about what is that showing me. And there's something there about the opposite. Anyway, so that's one thing. And then the other thing I just want to share is around blood and transfusions. And Charlie Freak, there's so much was spoken a lot about adrenochrome and all this kind of stuff. And then I've noticed that lately there hasn't been a lot of discussion about it, about organ, stealing blood and all this craziness that goes on with pedophilia and children. Anyways, I just want to share this. When I was a baby, like my parents were Rh negative, Rh positive. And at that time, those people who had that Rh factor were basically told that your firstborn would be okay, but after that, your children would die unless they had transfusions. So as a baby, I was taken from my mother, and my blood was transfused out of me, my blood, and blood was put in. A new blood was put into me, and this was with 3 of my sisters. My brother didn't have that experience; he was firstborn, but my 3 sisters, we all had this. And the understanding was that we had to have that, otherwise we would have died. And many times people have tried to explain the science of this. And my father, tried to explain the science of this, but I never could grasp it. And I always thought, oh, I don't understand it. I'm stupid or whatever. This is my thought. But I've had the sensation today that I didn't understand it because perhaps it wasn't truth. And perhaps I want to dive more into it, but perhaps what was going on with of my, we were basically donors. But anyways, and person who very much honors the innocence and purity of all beings and wishes to purify and return to innocence. And I realize that for me, all this business goes on with the vaccines and such, and that all of these medical practices, which I find invasive, like I can understand the depth of my opposition to that from tuning into what happened at birth for me and what I do not feel was right. Anyways, I feel very neutral about it. I don't know if that's, I can only see Marie's face. I can't see other people's faces right now. So I don't mean to be heavy. I just wanted to share a little bit of a revelation. And it doesn't feel heavy to me. It feels just like a coming to terms, and also a miracle. And I don't know if there's anything more to say, or if that brings up anything for anyone. Please feel free to chime in or just rest with that. But thank you for hearing me, everybody.
You're welcome, Sarah. We love you. We love you. So there were two bits here, and Joel, I see you kind of, maybe you have something to say, but we're talking about the mask situation. And I really feel you too, because I went into town this week and saw a baby wearing like a visor and a mask. And that was like a limit for me. I really had to like breathe through that one too. So I think that we can all gather that this is getting crazier and crazier. And then there's the situation, the revelation around blood transfusions and what's been going on underneath our noses while we were trying to, just have a good life. And so, hi, Dave, welcome to the show. So there's two bits here, and I'm going to give it to Joel and then one of my brothers to attend to, because I know you speak to magnetism as well, and I know Aaron's real good with that conversation. So go ahead, Joel.
Cool. Yeah. The masks are perfect, right? It's what we needed. We needed to see and come to terms with where everyone's at 100%. We just need to know, right? Because it's just in order for unconsciousness to be perceived, right? We need to just absolutely deal with it, feel it in all of our organs, and come to terms with how unconsciousness makes us feel. And they've been running experiments for so long, and they're just kind of rolling it all out now. It's like, okay, this is how we do it. And so forces rise to meet each other. We needed this force to rise so that we could rise to meet it. It's perfect when you as a sovereign individual being become liberated in that, and you no longer need to look at the world so closely. You can go into a different zoom. So like when I'm walking through the streets of New York, it's just a sea of energy. Everyone is just energy. There's no people. I don't look at any faces. I'm looking at a sea of energy, and I'm traveling in silence amongst that sea of energy. And I'm allowed to perceive a lot. My 180-degree perception allows me to take in so many characters and so many stories, but I'm looking at them all at once. And that capacity allows you to become lucid in so many levels. So these masks are giving us the capacity to become so lucid, right? The phantoms that are wearing the masks have made a choice. We are making a different choice, right? And so never has it been so clearly defined. Never have we been given such a guidance toward consciousness through unconsciousness. So our unconscious dreams are portals to consciousness. This unconscious dream is a portal to consciousness. So everything is happening for us in that respect. It is so disturbing. It's so deeply disturbing to deal with unconsciousness. And I feel for everyone and all of the feelings that you go through, and then when you get sick and all of that, because it's real, it's part of it. But that's how you're going to discover where you're at. And then we need more of that. We need to keep seeing this stuff, but keep showing up, but learn to go to these places without being at odds with anyone or anything, and just be in gratitude for your existence, and be in gratitude that you are not as embedded in the unconsciousness. And so it's built in. The system's built in for us to discover the gratitude in everything all the time. And it's when we switch that magical perspective over that we become liberated, we become light, and then we're not heavy and dense. And then we can navigate these difficult truths as a warrior, right? Rather than just stumbling onto them and getting ulcerative colitis because, it was too much to take on, right? And that happens. So strategy, but thank you.
Wow. So good. It's so good. I love the vision of like just seeing the energy, because I felt that at one point, like I kind of might have flashed in and out of that, Joel, walking through this mall where I was like, I was there, but I wasn't there in the same way. I couldn't look at it all. It was just individually, it was just too much insanity. But just as energy, it was like, okay, I can stay in my vibe and walk through this place and not be so affected, by it. I can kind of create that force field and just, allow it. And then I saw the baby, and then I snapped out. But it's crazy stuff. And, as it relates to the blood, Sarah, bit of this, I think all of us, that's what's so, you said come to terms, like we're coming to terms with the fact that we've been involved in this too. We have. Some of us are going to wake up to, oh, wow, that was something. When I contributed, wow, I didn't realize that. Or, and that's what this clearing, and that's what this, reckoning is all about with ourselves. Like, we didn't know, now we do. And the line around here is, when you know better, you do better. And that's what we're all about right now, is keeping the truth alive. We have to keep the truth alive. Like, Charlie says that all the time. If we don't do this, who will? Like, we have this responsibility. We know what's going on. You're coming to terms with things. I'm coming to terms with things. We're all realizing, and now we know, and now we've got to keep walking. We can't stop. We can slow the train down. We can take baby steps if we need to, but it would make no sense to get off right now and go subscribe to back to the insanity. I don't think anyone here is going to do that. But these are your choices. Either you keep going forward, or you slow it down if you need to. But getting off, really, at this point, I think we've passed the point of no return. We're past the point of no return. We're in it to win it now. At this point, we've got to figure out how to communicate. We've got to figure out how to work together. We've got to figure out how to do the hard things together. We've got to figure out how to forgive ourselves. We've got to figure out how to forgive others. We got to figure this thing out now. We're the ones, like my husband always says, like, we're the ones we've been waiting for. Like, it's our turn to do it. Lift our consciousness to be the christened lights that we were designed to be. That's the love. Christ, you could use that word, just love, just to be in the love. That's the only thing that's going to diffuse all this stuff. That kindness, that love of mankind, that allowing, that holding space, that generosity of spirit, that open communication, that direct communication. That's what's going to get us out of this. That's your $200 when you pass go. Game of Monopoly, right? I mean, Monopoly. How many more red pills are you going to take? Every day red pills. More and more. What did I see recently? A meme about how red pills were like strawberry flavored or something. Anyone else see that? Facebook somewhere. Here we are, my friends, in it to win it. At some point, it will all. I do feel it's all going to kind of catch up. Something's going to give here, right? Right, mighty friends. All right, good to know. Right. Anybody else? Aaron, did you want to chime in? Look at, this is where we are. Do you see that green? Maybe I'm going to do my next show outside. I'm sitting next to the internet just to make sure I have a good signal, but this is where we are. It's so beautiful, right? Reminds me of the Psalm 23. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. Yeah. Does the grass have a message today, Aaron?
Absolutely. I just want to say thank you for everybody showing up, holding space for themselves, bringing their energy for everybody else to see and the light to shine. Just showing you my view. It's transcendental. Just kind of get lost in the energy that we have here and listen to the beautiful gnosis coming from everybody. And we're speaking about one thing a lot is intent. And it can mean a lot of things, but it goes back down to magnetism, or comes up to magnetism, or our intent is in our mind, whether we're fear-based or love-based or God-based. It's what intent that we hold, what intent that we put into the energy, into the realm that we're experiencing. And that goes with everything, with our food, with our thoughts, with each other, even our surroundings that we have with us. If we don't put intent, or the pure intent with love, we're going to get that back. We're going to manifest things that we don't know that's coming back to us because our intent's not there, because we're living in a fear-based mindset where, everything's happening for us to learn and not to us. So if our intent is in fear-based and everything, we're a victim in everything that happens, we're just remanifesting our fear. Then it becomes reality, and then it's just a samsara that we create in our mind. So to really hold our intent in a new space that we're coming out of, and putting our love in our intent and everything that we do, putting God in our intent, that's what we're going to manifest. We're going to manifest that in our reality. And we could see it once we start doing the work. We get glimpses of this. But then we get reminded, walking into spaces with masks and have them affect us in ways. We just get reminded there's still more that we need to look at ourselves and see what we need to see. It's mirrors. So as we become pure and sensitive and clear and light, we're going to be open to more of a reality, more of a 360 degrees of our realm that we're here to exist, rather than have a narrow mind and not see it. even though that we are going down a straight and narrow path, and you know, it's really hard to turn off around or turn out or any which way. We can't turn around right now, but we have like laser focus, but we have, you know, we see in our wide perspective of 360 degrees. So we're open to this and we see more things than we used to. So I just want to say that, you know, I'm just blessed to be here. So grateful to be in the realm of everybody sharing their gnosis and growing. And I love you guys very much.
Love you too, brother Aaron. Really, it's a really simple but powerful teaching, right? Magnetism, that what you give is what you get. You know, like if you put something out, it's going to come back. It's like, oh, right. Sometimes I forget that, you know. Oh, reminding, another R word, reminding, rejuvenating, regenerating, reintegrating. Beautiful.
Recapitulate.
Recapitulate. Resonate. Here we are. We're doing it.
Creating. We're all recreating ourselves into better people, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah, we are, Penny.
Every day we're somebody new. And every day we learn something. So we're always changing. It's just part of life. You just go with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important, you know, to remember that transformation is this is happening. You are going to be different. You are going to expand. You are going to grow. People might not recognize you, you know. That might happen.
The answer, they recognize the answer. Fruit will fix that. That's my answer now. Fruit will fix that.
It will.
Yep.
Fruit will fix that. Pineapples. Really? Are you sure? Someone asked me yesterday, aren't you tired of watermelon? Like, don't you get tired? Like, don't you want other things? And I was like, no. I mean, sometimes, but I'm good. It's all good.
It's so abundant right now. It's just beautiful. There's so much around. Yeah.
It's definitely frequency. That fruity vibration, and even with people that are just adding more fruit in their diet. I was speaking to someone recently who's like, I'm not totally there yet, but I'm eating so much more fruit and I'm getting my family on it and this and that. And even just that is a great start, just to add more in and realize, then you can start to see what it feels like when you're eating that, when it feels like when you're eating that. And then you can start, that's kind of how it goes, right? You start making decisions based on how you feel and really getting in touch with how you feel. We forgot. We thought it was normal to eat a big meal and then feel like, oh, that was normal.
The cleaner your body feels, the quicker you learn what's not good anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just keeping the ego at bay.
I flick it a lot.
Such a bossy guy.
Oh, wait.
Well, the ego knows. It's like the ego knows it's not even being rejected by God, but it's like it knows that there's something greater than it. So it's kind of like,
Fighting.
you know, battling, but it's like, you know, God is not fighting with your ego. God is just like, yeah, I got nothing. But the ego's like, I know there's something better.
Jeez.
Ah!
Yeah.
Right? Gross. I'm so glad those ones are over. I'm so glad those ones are over. Yeah. Penny, we love you. I love to hear your voice. I can't wait to meet you. I mean, we know each other, but.
Yeah, me too. Plans in place. We're getting there. We're hatching a plan to get there. Yeah.
Right. Going with the flow. Trusting your instincts. Going with the flow. Going on your own timeline.
Yeah, indeed.
Right on. Okay. Anybody else? I want to really be done in 2 hours. Can we do it? I think we can with 20 more minutes. So who wants to pop in?
Hi, Marie.
Hi, Dave.
Everyone.
Hi. How was your trip?
It was wonderful. My head is so filled up with so much, and then hopping on. First, I was stuck on the YouTube, didn't have the link to get in here, and then I finally, through some help, family help here, I was able to get here. But people were talking about growing and learning and all this stuff. And one of the things that I experienced this weekend, because of the cycles of life and everything, and as I was sitting down there looking over this big pasture and the stream and this, like the most favorite place that I've ever been, I put myself back 40 years ago, the first time I was there, when my oldest daughter was a baby, an infant. And when we talk about experiences and learning, a lot of times, I think we unconsciously look at it linear. And what I was experiencing this weekend was panoramic. I don't know if I said that right, but seeing everything at once. And I got to realize that my biggest lessons, I think, are learned that way. When I see everything 360 degrees. As that memory came into my head and the events, the terrible snowstorm that we went through to get there, and the wide eyes of my little daughter in her car seat, in the back seat. I called her. I hadn't talked to her in a while. She's been really busy. And I called her right at that moment. And I knew she was busy getting her kids ready, go to soccer and stuff like that. But I said, I told her where I was, what I was thinking about. And I said, I just wanted to call to let you know that I love you and that I think of you more than you could ever know. And it was wonderful. And yesterday, after I left there, I stopped to see my son, who's been struggling. He's been clean, but he's had a really tough time, and he's 3 hours away down there. So I took the drive to see him. And I prayed and meditated about the whole thing, and about getting there and coming down this quaint little street and getting him on the phone. And I pull into the driveway, and he's like, well, don't meet me there. You got to meet me here. And he's telling me about all the chaos that's going on. And I don't know, it wasn't of myself, I guess, the 3-hour talk that I had with him, but I could literally see him lift in front of me. And one of the things I was talking to about him was perception and what you're looking at in any given situation. You always look for the good. And then it dawned on me how subtly the reverse can happen. Because like I had mentioned, when I was coming down the street of this quaint little rural country North Carolina village, the street sides were lined with the rainbow flags, and they just looked completely out of place. And my first thought was, am I driving down San Francisco, or a quaint little place? And that I didn't really think that much of that judgment at the time. But as soon as I started talking to him an hour or so later about perception, I realized my own fault, that judgment. I said, was I looking at the good, or was I looking at the bad when I was driving through town?
Wow.
And so it's like, it's really fascinating how subtle, how you really, when I guess moving forward, I'm trying to figure out how I can focus more about looking at things 360 degrees instead of linear or moving. I learned this, now this, now this. Everything seems to progress in a line, and that's not the way things work. And you mentioned magnetism. That's not the way magnetism works. So anyway, I'm bouncing all over the place with my stuff, but I had a really incredible time. My reason for going down there was my uncle's he passed away before the COVID thing started. We were finally able to get together and have a celebration of his life. And the community and the people there that just absolutely loved my uncle, and the stories I heard were just incredible. And it even put some light on some of the things that I had experienced with him. I always looked at him as he taught me all of these things that I use today. But after listening to other people, it wasn't just that he taught those things to me. He recognized my passions.
Wow.
And in doing those things, and that was the driving force to teach me.
Wow.
And I thought that was incredible. So anyway, I'm going to shut up now. But thank you all, and I'll finish by just saying that I believe this group conscious here helped me get there. You pointed it out to me. I believe wholeheartedly that the people here helped me get there, and I'm grateful.
Wow.
Thanks.
Right on, Dave. We love you, and that's what we do for each other. Is we're encouraging, we're holding the bar, and we're inviting each other to keep taking the steps in the right direction, to cast our net to the right, to be right-minded, to keep choosing light and to keep going in that direction, and then looking at the miracles that occur and the lessons that we learn from each other. And what a great one to have a family member that sees the passion and encourages the passion in you. And what we can all do for each other is to encourage each other's passion and coming forward, because that's your God-given uniqueness that wants to come forward, that's been so injured and so wounded for most of our lives. And that's what we're correcting now. We're like, wait a second, let's remember the ones that encouraged us. Let's celebrate those guys. Not the Hollywood cats or all, we've been celebrating all of the wrong things. And now we're like, no, we're going to celebrate the ones that are showing us the way, and we're going to follow in their footsteps, not because they're better than us, but because they came before us. We're going to respect them and the work that they did, but we're going to do it out of respect for all of us as well, that this is what we must do now. All of us, we've got to keep, because so many people have gone before us to do this, haven't they? And a lot of cats before us. I mean, a lot of, and, yeah, we got tapped. Go us. Thanks, Dave. Patricia, Alan.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Marie. Thank you, everyone who shared and holding space, and everyone in the chat. Had a couple of days of a bit of a struggle. And I've been on a juice cleanse again. And so I think that's probably, lots of things are coming up for me. And I'm just trying to just ride with it. And but everyone that has shared so far, thank you. There's been something now clear. I feel clear that I can contribute a little bit here. And I want to say thank you to Kira. A Ho'oponopono prayer I heard about 4 years ago, and I get emotional with that because I heard that, and my nephew's partner at the time, she gave that to me to pray and to do that while I was in a bit of a funk at the time, and that prayer is so powerful. I had no idea, the 4 words that I would say over and over again, and then I came out of it, whatever I was going through at the time, and then I met somebody who was going through their own struggles with addiction, and I suggested, why don't you try the Ho'oponopono prayer? I might just be pronouncing it correctly, and I could see, something, happening. I could observe that as well, and there's something pretty amazing about that, and in my life now, it's amazing. Like, right, the Ho'oponopono prayer, right, all these little gifts of, a solution that can help my little, funk the last couple of days. And why do I forget that? Why do I forget that? And it's beautiful to be a part of, Miraculous Mondays, to get a lot of these gifts and a few of these people here in these windows. I've been able to reach out to also get some more miraculous gifts from them, and to help me, with a lot of stuff that has been coming up lately. Doing some of my own shadow work going on here, and it's phenomenal, just phenomenal. I also I've been part of like going to the markets, and it's like sometimes I just like, well, like I really I don't want to wear the mask, and there's certain markets that you have to, but you want to get this, and I have this little clear mask. I'll go into one of our Jeff Bezos shops, and when I see somebody without a mask, I'm like, I just want to give them a big hug. I don't know you, and I'm not exactly extrovert, but I come right out, and I'm like, wow, and I get to go talk to them, and I'm like, are you? Oh yeah, and it's beautiful. It's like, it's so, it's like, it's like a big charge, right? If a big charge of like love, when you see someone who's like, they're doing it, we're all going in now, and these are bright lights that, like, and that's happened to like the last 2 times I've been out, and I'm like, now I'll go talk to you. I'm gonna go talk, and it's like, it's liberating, and then it's like, then I got to see like people, with the mask come around, and like, I'm completely okay in the light. I'm really feeling so strong in the light, and and that's where it is. This is the reality. This my reality here. It's beautiful. Like when that happens, it's like, then that energy goes with me, and that's the magnetism, I believe, when we can show up that way. Hey, so I'm just really thank you for allowing me to share that little bit, and thank you, Marie, everyone.
You're welcome. You're welcome. That was beautiful. Getting good, Patty. Here she goes, giving people hugs. Hi, stranger. I love you. Healing the world. I mean, I feel you. It's really exciting, isn't it? It's like when I see you guys, or when I meet you in person, it's just like, oh, you know what I know, right? Way to go. Keep on keeping on. This juice business is no joke. It's no joke. It's an accelerator. It brings it to the surface. That's all good. Clearing. You can always slow it down. You can always speed it up. I think that we need to be really kind and loving to ourselves, and remember that it took this long to get this funky, and that we have some time here. I think that I know for myself, it's like someone said recently, I have to catch up, and I go, to what? To now? Like, there's no catching up. It's just this. There's no time. Let's go there. You want to go there for a second? Like, let's just slow down. Like, you're doing great. Doing great right where you are. Okay, Alan. Alan or All In. Penny goes, let's call him All in our chat here. All in. He's for sure all in. At what time is it there?
It is like 3 a.m., 3:55 a.m.
Dude.
Okay.
So
I don't want to go to sleep. I don't want to miss an episode. So I'm at around day 11 on just citrus fruit juice.
Wow.
Yeah. And I notice I'm at that stage or that zone where it doesn't matter if I eat 10 oranges or 30 oranges, I stay at around 60 kilograms. So my weight doesn't go up or down anymore as much as eating other fruits. And it doesn't matter if I dry fast for over 2 days. It's been 60 kilograms. So I'm thinking this is my my natural weight. And I've been keeping I chose citrus because it's really easy to juice and it's really easy to pick out the seeds. And I keep the seeds in my mouth for like a minute so it gets acquainted with my DNA. And then I put it on some paper, let it dry, and then I put it in the fridge so that one day if I ever make it to Mexico, this is when I'm gonna plant all these citrus seeds. And then I notice when I use a juicer to juice, I end up drinking like 30, 40 citruses. But when I juice it in my mouth, I probably around 10 and I'm pretty satisfied. And another good thing, I feel like I reached this level of love where, you know, if you use the citrus juicer, the one where you twist, you usually cut the citrus in half with a knife. And when I look in the fruit and I see that I cut a seed, I feel super bad. I feel super bad. So now I just use them in my mouth, and I put some restrictions on myself, but I'm pretty content. Like I won't, until I stop being a savage and pooping in the toilet, I won't eat like kiwis and dragon fruit where I have to pick every seed. Because if I poop it in the toilet, I don't know if the seeds will ever have a chance at life when it gets flushed down. So for now, until I have access to like the forest where I could go number 2 in the forest, I won't be eating these fruits that would take forever to eat the seeds off. So I chose citrus. And I was watching Justin's channel Q&A with Tony Wheel, and they're talking about pineapples for a second, you know, like how it burns our mouth and whatnot. And Tony Wheel was talking about after cutting the pineapple, the top of the pineapple, she could put it in the dirt and it grows. So I'm thinking maybe if we didn't cut the pineapple, that whole thing is an actual plant, and it during harsh conditions or wherever it originated from, it uses the nutrients from that pineapple fruit to, you know, until like it rains and stuff, right? Or that's what I'm assuming. So I'm thinking maybe pineapples don't really want you to eat the whole thing. And then the seeds of the pineapples are towards the outside of the fruit. So I'm thinking maybe whatever animals that eat the pineapple just take 1 or 2 bites and eat, you know, swallow the seeds and poop it elsewhere. And then that leftover pineapple uses the fruit as nutrients until it can root. So that's what I'm thinking is that's just the way of surviving for pineapples. Instead of just by seeds, they bought off the plant and then they grow a new plant. So wow. I'm thinking the pineapple is like a young mother with seeds, you know, a pregnant young mother moving on to its own. Wow. I actually saw a message from Dave about pineapples, but I missed it. But yeah, so while I'm dry fasting, this is like I'm just thinking of of fruits the whole time. And yeah, saving all the seeds. I'm saving all the seeds now to bring to Mexico.
Wow.
Can't wait to see you all.
We can't wait to welcome you.
Yeah, awesome, Alan. That's wonderful. I'm about 7 months into citrus juicing and went through the phases of using a citrus press and then juicing them in my mouth. And I found the energy exchange with peeling them, spending time with them was just so much more resonating with it, and then juicing into my mouth and having that full energy exchange with nothing else in between earthly mother and the child. And it really resonated with it. So congratulations to keep on going down that path, and just know that there's another brother with you. And I'm going to, if the environment allows me, I'll be pushing no goals with goals, but upwards of, over a year, going to 2 years maybe, just on citrus, and see what my body does after those changes. So awesome. I love that.
Thank you. And I've noticed it's been like 6 days since I actually had bowel movements now. It's just been juice. And yeah, you're right. It's so much more satisfying when you open it and peel it one by one and then juice it, taking off the seeds and juicing it, as opposed to using the tools. And I save so much more money. Instead of juicing 30 citruses, I just juice 10 in my mouth and I'm fine for the whole day.
Wow. Don't you love how we are? Like, so how do you do this? How did this happen? How is this even happening? I have no idea. And why are you wearing a yellow shirt and talking about pineapples? Woohoo!
I heard you mention pineapple earlier. That's why I was like, oh yeah, pineapples.
I miss the pineapples in Puerto. We would get like miel pineapples, these really little ones from the mountain area in Oaxaca, and they're so sweet. Like, and they don't do any of the burning. Like the bigger pineapples, I'm not as happy with. But the little ones that are the honey ones are just extraordinary. So good. And yeah, all these nuances that are happening as we continue to evolve in this practice and in this journey, all the little things. I feel the same with watermelons. Like I juice them because I drink them. If I drink them, I feel more satisfied. If I eat them, I don't feel as satisfied. But I'm still, very much a beginner. So I like to juice the watermelon, even though I know we don't have to because there's not that much pulp and all of that. It's just, I just like to drink a bunch of it because I could never eat like a whole watermelon. But if I drink a bunch, then I'm good. Like it fills me up and it doesn't get my mind going into like, I want food, mode.
I'm exactly the same. Exactly.
Yeah. Are you?
Sorry.
Yeah. Juice, lots of juice.
Go ahead, Alan.
So in Japan, I want to say like 99% of the pineapples are imported. So it doesn't come yellow or ripe. And according to Tony Wheel, it'll never go ripe off of the plant. And so now if I'm ever going to buy a pineapple in Japan in the store, I'm just going to buy it to plant it. And also thinking about watermelons and like how does it attract human beings, because you know how like strawberries, it smells great, the actual fruit is really pretty colored and it attracts our eyes, but watermelon, like how does it attract us, and is it natural? Like how did we eat watermelon back when back in the day, back of gardening? Like we can't just like bite into a watermelon as opposed to like a mango or an apple or a pear or a peach, right? So I'm like, maybe maybe that watermelon was designed for others, but I'll still eat a watermelon.
Yeah. Well, you could also bang it over a little rock and open it, and there it is. I mean,
this is true.
I don't know. I'm fascinated with watermelons right now. It's a really new thing. I don't know what's going on. I'm falling in love. I don't know what's going on. Just love them so much.
I think the seasonal fruits, right, we're really connected to the seasonal fruits.
I can't wait to have just watermelon. All of it. I mean, it's really fun. Yesterday we found figs in our little fruit forest back there. And I hadn't even noticed the figs before. And there was this white horse and her baby, like little pony. And so my daughter and I picked up all of the figs that were on the ground and fed them to to the horses. And it was so magical. It was really a beautiful moment. It was beautiful. Like I'd said something to my sister-in-law and she was like, oh, it sounds like a fairy tale. And I was like, yeah, I guess it is. We're just feeding the horses and listening to the birds and frolicking in the stream. And I'm going to do a live here soon with you guys to show you the stream. I don't know if Justin took you all the way out there the other day when he did his live, but yeah, it's pretty magical. It's pretty magical. Figs from the fruit forest. Yeah, there's figs, there's mangoes out there, there's zapote and mamey. And there were cows yesterday in the field next door. And so there was like, we were feeding the horses and looking at the cows and just, yeah, there's these moments and stretches of the day that are just like this is happening, just like this is happening right now. What a gift. Such a gift. Such a gift. I'm so happy for my children. It's not been the easiest thing sometimes, to like get reacquainted with the mother in this way, with like, all of the distractions kind of pulled out, and they still have some toys and things that they're playing with that some people in the community are like, those are plastic. I'm like, I know, we're getting there. But it's amazing. And it's amazing that we're learning now, what our children will learn, and in a few generations, who knows how this thing will play itself out. But all of you guys that are even making those steps in that direction with the fruit, and pulling yourself off the animals is essential. Like that's just such a game changer. And yeah, it's just a game changer. It feels really different and more, just more connected. So thank you, Fruity Friends. And I'm so grateful for all of you that came today for the show. And Miraculous Mondays is it's my favorite day of the week. So, anything else that wants to be shared before we complete? Yeah. Alan, check out the chat. I posted something from Kira here about an outdoor composting. Something to consider.
Or a bucket, just as good, cheaper.
Or a bucket.
I've done it before.
Here we go.
I live in an apartment, so I'll see how this works. And we're on the third floor, so I'll figure something out.
You're so amazing. We're so grateful that you stay up for us on the show and come and play. And thank you so much for each and every one of you, Patricia, Shelley, Aaron, Dave and Penny, Sarah, Joel. You were a superstar today. Thank you for holding such beautiful space for us. That's the fun about these shows. Like, I feel like I really don't have to do much. I just can hear from you guys. Lots of love, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now. Thank you to everyone in the chat and who watches these things. Thank you. I hope that they serve you. Much love. Oh, nice, Penny.